everyone, my name is Jenna, but you guys can call me Jen, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my April wrap-up and my Owls Readathon wrap-up. Yes, I'm here on, what is it? It's the last day of April, so I still have a few hours left of the day to finish my last exam, but we're not going to talk about that one yet. That'll be last. This is also not just the Owls wrap-up. It is everything that I read in the month of April, and the month of April was a fairly good reading month for me. So far I have read 11 books in the month of April, and I'm hoping to make it 12 with the last Owls exam one. So without further ado, let's just dive right into this. So I have my trusty bullet journal on my lap here, and I'm in my sunroom. I don't know if you can sometimes see Bella. Bella! She likes to poke her head in. She's joining me today. I decided to do it in the sunroom today because it is bright and warm in here. So the first book that I read in April was not a good start. I read it for my book club with my friends, and it was Keeper of the Isis Light by Monica Hughes. Monica Hughes? Monica Hughes. I ended up giving it 2 stars. I really did not enjoy it. It's a sci-fi, a YA sci-fi. I don't have it anymore. I gave it to my friend because she needed to read it for book club, so it's hers now. But this is what it looks like, and it was not good. It was not good. I don't know. Even after the discussion, I don't even see the merits in it because it's just not good, and I don't need to talk about it anymore because it's not worth your time. The next book that I read was a middle grade e-arc from NetGalley. It is The Witches of Willow Cove by Josh Roberts. This was so good. It was so surprising to me. I saw it, I was caught by the cover. It's like a beautiful purpley orange vibe, and I was like, oh, I would really like to, what is this about? And I read it, and then I read some reviews of it on Goodreads, and I was like, this sounds like it's worth my time, and I ended up reading it in like 5 hours, and it was so cute and wonderful. So it is, from what I remember, because I have terrible book memory, especially that far back in the month. From what I remember, it is about a bunch of 13-year-olds. They are all a big group of friends, and first of all, we start off with 2 best friends. I don't remember their names. And it's a girl and a boy, and it's the eve of the girl's birthday, her 13th birthday, and it's Halloween. And so they're going out trick-or-treating. They're pretending to trick-or-treat because they think they're too cool for it, which is a lie. Nobody's too cool for trick-or-treating. I swear to God, I would still go out if I wasn't 6'1" and like very obviously an adult. But this book was so good. So they go to this haunted, under the cover of trick-or-treating, they go to a, like, one of those old mental hospitals that was converted and then like shut down on this hill that they have there, just because they're like, ooh, like it's kind of spooky, let's go figure it out, let's go check it out. And so they go, and then they see this woman who comes out, and so they see this woman, and she sees them and then attacks them, and she has a wand, and she's magical, and all of a sudden she sets all of the gargoyles around the hospital facade against them. They come to life. And so to save themselves, the girl and the boy end up jumping off a cliff, and they just kind of hope that there's nothing at the bottom because, you know, kids are reckless, and the girl can fly. So it's a story about witchcraft and witches and friendship, and it's just so, I think it's so well done. Josh Roberts, the author, he knits together history and fantasy so well in this book. It is so good, and when I can, I'm going to find the paperback and add it to my collection because it was so good, and I highly recommend you pick it up for a middle grade. I gave that one, by the way, 4.5 stars. I don't know if I said that. The next one that I read, actually, the one that I have with me is The Storm of Swords by George R.R. Martin, which is the 3rd in the Game of Thrones series. It is my favorite so far. This one was gripping. It just had such a good plot to it, and I don't think any of you need me to explain what Game of Thrones is about. This is also the 3rd in a series, so yeah, it's fine. It's great. Anyways, finished this one finally. I read most of it I read half of it in March, and then the other half this month, and I read it with the audiobook for the first time. The audiobooks are actually really good. The guy, I don't remember what his name is, but he sounds a little bit like Jim Dale, so it was a good time. It was an entertaining time, and I am looking forward to starting the 4th one, maybe in May, possibly June, but soon, which is amazing. I also give that one 5 stars because it was my favorite so far. I am terrible at this rating thing. And then next I ended up finishing my reread for Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. This doesn't really have that much to explain. This is my 3rd time rereading it. I really, really love this book. It is one of my favorite fantasies. It is one of my favorite classics that I have ever read, if not the top 2, I do believe. The other contenders are top 3. The other contenders are Picture of Dorian Gray and Jane Eyre. If you've watched my other videos, you'll know. But I just love these so much. It feels like coming home. But yes, I gave this one 5 stars, obviously, because it's a reread. A 3rd reread for me, so amazing. And then finally, my friends, we actually reached the first Owls exam that I finished, and that exam was my charms exam, because I believe I put it up to an Instagram poll and you guys all voted for me to start this one, and that is the white cover. You know, that was the prompt for charms, and I read A Gathering of Shadows by V.E. Schwab. This book was okay. It was really disappointing to me. It didn't feel like it had its own story. I have an issue with bridge books. If you have been around on my channel for a little bit, you'll know bridge books really make me mad. Bridge books, I think, are the books that are in the middle of a series or the 2nd book of a trilogy that just fall flat. They don't really have their own story, and they just are supplying information for the next book. This one definitely felt like that. Even though it had its own plot line, the plot line wasn't really that important to the story overall. It was the magical games, basically, which was fun, and I did enjoy reading it, and the writing is beautiful and it just sweeps you along, but I was just bored for most of it, and so I gave it 3.75 stars, which is really sad, but I hope I like the last one more. I hope I like the last one more. The ending of this one actually sets up the last book perfectly, and I think if things had been shrunk down, you could have probably put the last 2 together, but I know that there's a lot of character building in this and a lot of character arcs, and you're exploring the world, so it's like you can't have only 2 books in this series, but whatever. This was okay, just okay, but I got my charms exam out of it, so yay. The next book that I finished for the month of April was the Lovely Ladies live stream. The Lovely Ladies book club pick for the month of March and April, and it was The Beast of Beswick by Emily Howard. I ended up giving this 4 stars. I really, really enjoyed it. The writing is so incredibly good. The story is really, really fun, and it was just really good. I did get a little bit annoyed near the 60 to 75% mark when it was just pretty cyclical. Like, it was just fighting, making up, feeling sorry for themselves, fighting, that kind of vibe. And our lovely Thane, our love interest and one of our main characters, he is emulating the Beast from like Beauty and the Beast, so he's super, I don't even know the word for it, disagreeable? Disagreeable is not the right word, but like he's not a fun guy to be around, and he just feels sorry for himself all the time, doesn't think he can be loved. So it's just a cycle of that near the end, and that kind of gets a little bit boring, and we discussed this on our live stream a lot on how it would have been better. So definitely go check that out. I will put it in the down bar for you guys to go watch and listen to our thoughts about this. We also ramble off a little bit on other things, but this was great and I really enjoyed this, and I'm really happy that I picked it up because now I want to go on a historical romance kick. So amazing. The next book I read was also for my owls, and this was for my Ancient Runes, which I believe was to read something with a heart on the cover, and this one has hearts on the cover and hearts in the title, and it is The Paper and Heart Society by Lucy Powery. Lucy Powery is a YouTuber, by the way. She is awesome. She is super in love with literature and classics and really finding the stories that we're told that nobody really knows about, and so she's also an author, and her second book comes out I believe later this year, and it's in the same world as this story is this basically. This is about Tabby, who moves to this new place and she lives with her grandma for the time being, and she has a little bit of a sticky past that she wants to get away from. She, I believe, is 16 in this, 15, 16, and so while she's there, she goes to the library because she absolutely adores books, and she picks up a book, and inside is a pamphlet for a book club, and she decides on a whim to go to the first meeting to contact the person in charge, and ends up finding Olivia, Cassie, Henry, and Ed, and it's basically their story from there, and it's super fun. There's a road trip in this as well where they go around to literary spots in Europe, which is so exciting for me because they go to Bath and they go visit the Bronte parsonage, and I believe they go visit the birthplace of Shakespeare. So it's all really great, and it was super heartwarming, and I ended up giving this one 4 stars as well. The next 2 books actually were for the Stay Home Reading Rush, which if you guys have seen, I did a whole vlog on this, and I read 2 books only for all 4 prompts. So I don't really quite remember what the prompts were, but I ended up reading first and foremost E.M. Forster's A Room with a View. This I was okay with. It wasn't my favorite, but it was still kind of entertaining. I was a little confused in some points because I think E.M. Forster's writing kind of branches between the modernist, very stream of consciousness writing, and then also a little bit of the like Edwardian Victorian style writing, so it branches both of those, which is a weird combination, and I'm not sure I love it so much, but it was still fun, and you go to Italy for a while and you have some interesting characters. I don't know, but I actually looked this up afterwards to see if there was a movie made on it. There is, with Helena Bonham Carter and the Dame Maggie Smith, so I don't know why I didn't just watch the movie instead, which is a feeling I've never had before. But yes, so I read this one. 3.5 stars for this one. And then I ended up picking up the illustrated edition of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. I picked this up on a whim for that particular weekend because I believe this was for the prompt of a book that makes you happy or smile in a place where you want to go. And obviously Harry Potter makes me smile, and I want to go to Hogwarts. Who doesn't want to go to Hogwarts? And it was perfect because I ended up using this for an extra exam for the owls. I ended up using it for History of Magic because History of Magic was read a book with witches or wizards in it, and obviously this does have it, so amazing. And it was so lovely to read this with the illustrated edition because it's one of the Harry Potter books that I've reread the most because it's the perfect size to bring with me on vacation, and as a kid I would do that all the time. I would bring Goblet of Fire on vacation with me because I had the paperback and it was just thick enough that it would like last me the week, but like I adore these illustrations so much. But yeah, so I read that one as well, and obviously 5 stars because it's my life and it's my favorite thing in the world, so that's awesome. And the last 2 books I read in the month of April so far were the books for Care of Magical Creatures and Arithmancy. First, let's talk about Arithmancy, even though I read the other one first. This one I did a buddy read with Nori from Reading with Nori, and I ended up giving this one 3 stars. It was fine. I wasn't shocked by anything. I was kind of bored. I hated our narrator. It was okay, not my favorite. Middle of the road, and Nori, I believe, felt the same way. We had a good chat about it, and we ended up reading this one together because I watched her Owls TBR video and I was like, no way, I've actually picked 8 Perfect Murders as well for Arithmancy, which is to read a book outside your comfort zone. And this is definitely not my normal genre. This, I believe, is a mystery crime thriller-y type genre. I don't think it's a thriller anymore. I think I pitched it as a thriller originally. I don't think it is because it wasn't a thriller. It didn't thrill me. I wasn't scared. I hated our narrator. He was kind of the worst. But yeah, I won't tell you anything about this because it's good to go in blind to any kind of mystery. And if I tell you anything about it, that kind of ruins the story, except for the tagline basically, where we have our main character Malcolm, who runs a crime-oriented bookstore. So it's like a bookstore with just crime novels in it. And one day an FBI agent comes in and asks him about this list that he wrote a while ago called the 8 Perfect Murders, which he features 8 different books with perfect murders on it. And because somebody is trying to emulate those murders now. So it's just about that, and it was okay. I don't know if I will pick up another Peter Swanson. It's just not my genre, really. Like, I love crime novels. I love, like, Robert Galbraith, and I love the, like, NYPD Red series by James Patterson. Like, I just love the true, like, detective-y type stuff. Like, kind of like the Bones TV show. It's my favorite thing in the world. But this wasn't my cup of tea. It's fine. It's whatever. I read it and I got my exam for it, so it's fine. And then lastly, I read For Care of Magical Creatures, The Crown of Feathers by Nikki Palpreto. This is a YA fantasy about Phoenix Riders, and I really, really enjoyed this. I remember, it was like last week, I listened to the audiobook for this because it's on Scribd, and I was playing Animal Crossing on my Nintendo GameCube with this in my ears, and it was a great time. And I was really intrigued, but it's a sentiment that I talked about in one of my vlogs. I've had this weird detachment feeling from YA fantasy recently, and it's just, it takes away from my reading pleasure because I'm not like just scrambling to pick up the book anymore. I'm just like, I'll pick it up whenever. But this was such a unique story, and it's written really well, and it has really intriguing characters, and I'm really glad I did read it, and I'm really glad I did finish it, because I got to meet all these characters and got to see all the decisions, and I gave this 4 stars, even though like my reading experience was more of a 3-star. That's just because I was detached from it. This is a really, really good book, and I highly recommend you pick it up. This is about Veronica, who is a sister and a phoenix and a animage, basically, and in this world animages are the only people who can ride phoenixes, and because they have like animal magic, which is so cool because I've never read a book with animal magic in it before, or phoenixes, or like phoenixes so big you can ride on them, and they're so cool. And so Veronica, she at the beginning of the story is with her sister Val, who is like the complete opposite of her, so she's very cold and calculating, where Veronica is warm-hearted and wants to love nature and just be friends with the animals versus like commanding them to do stuff. It's like a delicate balance. And at the beginning, she and her sister have 2 phoenix eggs. One of them hatches and attaches itself to Veronica, and then something happens and Veronica leaves her sister to find the Phoenix Riders, who have been in hiding up in the mountains since like this war between 2 sister queens happened, and people have been hunting the Phoenix Riders to get them out of the Empire. So it follows them, and it also follows 2 other characters, Tristan, who is a Phoenix Rider in training, and Sev, who is, or Sev, I believe, with a V. Yeah, Sev. He is a prisoner? No, he's a soldier, and he is an animage in hiding. And he's a soldier for the Empire who hates animages and like hunts them down. So it follows those 3, and it's really, really good, and the more I think about it, the more I like it. So I definitely need to pick up the next one soon. And that is it. That is all I read in April. And the last book actually that I need to read is underneath my camera. So hold on one second. Let's just do a quick little swap. There. So the next one I need to finish, and I am very close to being done. I have this much left of the book to go, which I'm hoping to finish tonight, is Middle Game by Shauna Maguire. This is a book that was put on my radar by watching Books and Lala's favorite videos, and like last year it was her favorite book of 2019, and she said it was just so neat and cool. And Shauna Maguire's kind of been around for a while with those tiny little like books that are like about the kids who go to mystical worlds and come back. I don't know. They look cool, but I've heard so many people say that there's just not enough story, and that really drives me crazy when there's not enough story. So I don't know if I'm going to read them, and if I do, I probably just want to binge them all in one sitting. So like, it's a thing. But I do enjoy Shauna Maguire's writing, and I only found that out because I'm reading this. This is my first Shauna Maguire, and I am enjoying it for sure. It is completely not what I was expecting. It has the trope of time in it, and anytime I read a book with time in it, it feels a little bit over my head and a little bit too smart, and this is no exception. This has such high, like, science-y, alchemy, twisted, mathematical stuff, but like, it feels almost on the bridge of being too smart for me. This book is definitely way too smart for me. I don't understand a lot of stuff that's happening in this, or that's mentioned in this, but I am enjoying the story. Right now, it's hovering between a 3.5 and a 4-star because, like, again, I'm just not, like, there's nothing huge happening, but I have a feeling that this is going to be, like, a high 4-star, 4.5-star by the end of it because right now, it's picking up. Time is unraveling. It's great. But, yes, so this is the last one that I need to finish tonight, which I will. Make sure to watch my reading vlog. That will be going up Tuesday, as they always do. And you will find out if I actually have finished this and become a wand maker, because that is the career that I want to be. That is the one that I needed to do. And so to become that wand maker, if you've watched my Owls TBR at the very beginning of this month, you will know that I needed to have an Ancient Ruins, which I read Paper and Heart Society for. I needed an Arithmancy, which I read 8 Perfect Murders for. Care of Magical Creatures, which was Crown of Feathers. Charms, which is A Gathering of Shadows. And Herbology, which is middle game, because it's Mimbulus Mimbletonia, something with an M. So that's super exciting. Yes, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed. Let me know down below what your favorite book this month was. I think mine was, like, besides Game of Thrones, or A Storm of Swords, Pride and Prejudice, and Harry Potter, because I enjoyed those very much on their own. I think my favorite was probably The Beast of Beswick or Crown of Feathers. Those were both very, very good. But I also didn't have very many 5-stars this month, so I'm hoping May changes that. Anyways, friends, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe and do all that fancy stuff that YouTube asks you to do. And I will see you in another video soon. Stay kind and keep on reading.